And then at the time I came back into the military, my second time to be a Special Forces medic, an 18 Delta Green Beret medic, I was already very much into the idea of herbal medicine. So if, in fact, at that time, I had to make a choice between attending a TCM, a traditional Chinese medicine school, and getting my MSAOM back then, which, at
Mhm.
that time I was like in my mid 20s, or going back into the military a second time for me to go into medicine that way. And what really my intuition or my heart or whatever led me into just really being interested in knowing emergency medicine, remote medicine, working in the field, working in areas that were, how do we combine the worlds of herbal medicine, sustainable medicine, along with a good background and the fundamentals of everything, being able to handle anything. And that's really what a Green Beret medic is taught, or at least back then was taught, was, being able to be a healthcare provider in a
Mhm.
situation where you might not have a medical director anywhere within 1,000 miles or more. So in other words, you might be one day dealing with an out, this goes back to the Vietnam War era where a Special Forces team, 12-man team, would go into an area and work with the locals that were a resistance group or whatever, maybe the Montagnards, for instance, and be able to, with a 12-man team, the idea was to be able to form a battalion-sized force. And out of that 12-man team, you had two in each specialty, four different specialties, and the medic was really kind of the backbone of being able to work with the people, hearts and
Mhm.
minds of the people. So you might be delivering a baby one day, and you might be working to deal with a broken bone the next day, and you might be dealing with some kind of a flu or infectious disease outbreak the next, whatever. You had to be able to do all of that. Plus, of course, be very well trained in combat medicine. So it's kind of like being a combat paramedic on one side and being a sort of meatball level nurse practitioner on the other, I would say. And so that approach to medicine always intrigued me, the generalist approach, being able to do a little bit of everything and maybe not being doing anything incredibly well.
Mhm.
You're not specializing in one thing, but being good at a lot of things, and combining that then with herbal medicine, with plant medicine.